London is one of the world's great cities with so many wonderful neighborhoods and lively sights to see. A fun place to walk around, especially when you know where to go, as we'll show you here. You will be dazzled by the places we're going to visit, including Trafalgar Square, Piccadilly Circus, Leicester Square, up Regent Street to Oxford Street, then down Bond Street to StJames. Central London is a compact, flat area, less than 1 square mile, and filled with historic buildings, lively shops, restaurants, street entertainers, and lots of people out enjoying a walk. This particular itinerary is based on my practical experience as a tour guide for the past 30 years, leading different variations of this route many times. Here I'll be showing you the very best highlights of those tours. We are going to cover a lot of ground and see many beautiful sights in this walking tour, with a total length of about 3 miles that you could easily do in a half day. The walking route goes from Trafalgar Square to Leicester Square to Piccadilly Circus, and then up to Regent, Oxford, and Bond Streets, StJames, and back to Trafalgar Square. About 3 miles altogether, with an option at the end to see changing of the guards. Starting our walk right now at Trafalgar Square. This is a grand public plaza that has served as the heart of the capital since the 1840s, rich in history and architectural grandeur. Nelson's Column is the dramatic focal point of the square, flanked by 4 massive, powerful bronze lions, which are a favorite spot for photos. Other popular photo settings are the 2 large fountains on either side of the square, which become a playground of water and light, with brave souls occasionally wading in despite the no swimming signs. They're central to the visual and atmospheric charm, providing a soothing contrast to the stone and granite architecture around them. Visitors from every corner of the globe give the square an international atmosphere. The square also hosts many cultural celebrations, political rallies, on the left and right, with thundering speeches and colorful banners. It's an outdoor theater pulsing with energy and music. And buskers of all kinds. The southwest corner is bordered by Admiralty Arch. The National Gallery is England's finest art museum, and it's free. The square is also lovely at night, with the light shining on the buildings and the fountains still going, and quite a few people out walking, enjoying this spectacular scene. At the northeast corner, you'll see the classic spire of St. Martin in the Fields, which became the model for thousands of later churches. There's a lovely cafe in the basement crypt, easily reached by elevator. Sitting beneath the dramatic barrel-vaulted brick ceiling, you'll enjoy an affordable meal. The church is on Charing Cross Road, a major street stretching north for 1,000 meters, but within a block it leads us right into Leicester Square, one of London's most exciting places. Right now we're in Leicester Square. It's a beautiful patch of greenery in the middle, with theaters, restaurants, cafes, bars, pubs all around it, and that half-price ticket booth right there. One of the best entertainment values in the world is getting your tickets half price when you're in London. It's the TKTS booth. You don't need tickets for the outdoor theater in the streets here at Leicester Square, famous for buskers of all kinds. Energy is always flowing here, with mobs of people being entertained. But it can also be a quiet place, a green oasis in the middle of the city, with a fountain surrounded by flower gardens and paths, with a green lawn inviting people to stretch out on the ground and relax. It's a family-friendly place where picnicking is encouraged. And fun with soap bubbles provides more entertainment. Maybe get a portrait sketch or caricature from the sidewalk artist. Leicester Square is busy throughout the day and on into the night, always lively and safe. Morris dancing is a form of English folk dance, centuries old, and lately enjoying a big revival. Leicester Square is centrally located just 2 blocks from Covent Garden and 2 blocks from Piccadilly Circus, which is our next destination. The walk route went from Trafalgar Square up to Leicester Square and now several blocks over to Piccadilly Circus. Already we're covering 3 of London's major sights. Your first glimpse of this astonishing tangle of streets is a wild blast of people, buses, trucks, taxis, statues, sidewalk merchants selling offbeat newspapers, tourist shops offering questionable discounts. Constant activity and noise of the city, swirling all around, provides jolts of energy. This is Piccadilly Circus, which really is the center of London. London was the center of the empire, so this is the center of the center right here. There's no clowns, there's no jugglers, it's not a circus in that sense. It's a circus in that it's kind of circular. It comes from the old Roman. And we've got various important streets that lead out from here. There's Piccadilly, Regent Street, Haymarket, Shaftesbury Avenue, and so on. It's really the busiest. It's like the Times Square of London. And it's fun at night too. It gets all lit up right up there. The famous lights are so powerful they're even bright in the daytime. The area pulses with energy day and night as crowds of tourists, Londoners, street performers, and commuters continuously stream through. It's a major transportation hub with 5 streets radiating out and multiple underground station entrances that provide easy access to the train tracks down below, with 2 busy train routes, the Bakerloo and Piccadilly lines. In England, subway does not mean underground train, but an underground walking passage, in this case to get you underneath this busy traffic circle. As long as you cross the street at an intersection with a traffic light and wait for the green, you'll be fine. But sometimes traffic is stuck at a red light and you have to thread your way between the buses, cars, and trucks. Some bold people make a dash at the last moment to get across. But just take it easy, look both ways while crossing, and you'll be fine. Despite those big signs at the tourist shops, this is not a good place to buy theater tickets or change money. Stick to the souvenirs here. At the very center, the statue of a winged god soars above the Shaftesbury Memorial Fountain, built at the end of the 19th century and soon became one of London's major places for people to gather. The steps all around it make excellent seats for resting and watching the passing parade of people and traffic, and to be entertained by street musicians who often perform here. It's a highly visible location with that built-in audience who might chip in with a donation, transforming this historical monument into a wild outdoor street party. Then be sure to get a good picture to add to the million shots from here on Instagram and YouTube. It's easy to get swept up in this swirling energy and spend some time right here in the middle of London. Much more than just a traffic junction, it's a cultural landmark and place to have some fun. And we're going to go up Regent Street in this direction. Regent Street begins with a delightful curve that was first designed about 200 years ago. It begins right here, and we're going to stay on this same street for almost 1 mile. It's a grand boulevard, magnificent structures, beautiful arches. Sometimes it's a street that goes through the arch. Nice shops all the way along. So we'll just take our time. There's Hamley's Toy Store. It's like FAO Schwartz, a very big toy store, and various other shops all along the way. Whittard is a famous tea company established in 1886 with a flagship store on Regent Street where you can get a free sample with a website you can order tea from. Walking along Regent Street, it curves from Piccadilly Circus to Oxford Circus in the main part. Less than a mile, only takes about 15 minutes to just walk it. But if you shop, it could take all day.
That's Liberty, big department store, famous for dry goods, clothing, scarves, cashmere, beautiful old building. And in 2 blocks we get to Oxford Circus. We're only going to go 2 blocks to give you a feeling for Oxford Street. And this is Oxford Circus, major intersection where Regent Street and Oxford Street come together. And you've got a busy tube station down below. No private cars are allowed on Oxford Street. Only buses and taxis and delivery trucks. It's got wide sidewalks.
Oxford is the busiest shopping boulevard for locals and one of the world's most famous shopping streets, with high street giants like Zara, H&M, Uniqlo, Nike, and Adidas, totaling nearly 300 shops, about half of which are clothing stores. And of course, you'll find some big souvenir shops. In late afternoon, the crowds are some of the thickest pedestrian concentrations in town. So if you enjoy people watching, come back then, with sidewalks full of locals heading home from work or going out to shop. It has been a retail powerhouse for shopping starting about 200 years ago, when it was widened and redesigned along with Regent Street. At times it has been considered Europe's busiest and largest shopping street, getting up to 300,000 daily visitors, but naturally has had its ups and downs, such as during the global downturn of COVID, from which it has bounced back quite nicely. It gets so crowded there is serious talk about turning the entire street into a zone only for pedestrians, which has happened in recent years to many of the busy streets of Europe, with great success for people and the businesses. A major recent development has been the creation of a new train underneath the road, the Elizabeth Line, with new stations at Tottenham Court Road and Bond Street, which has further increased the number of people coming here and benefited the stores, while reducing the congestion at the Oxford Circus station. Showing our recent walking route up Regent Street and across Oxford Street, now going down Bond Street with an optional short detour to Berkeley Square and then continuing down Bond to StJames. Turning from Oxford, we arrive at Bond Street, which is divided in 2 parts, the new in the north, old in the south.
This is New Bond Street, and then it becomes Old Bond Street, and it's beautiful the whole way down. Look at these shop fronts. This is really upscale now. This becomes the fanciest shopping street in town. It's like the Rodeo Drive or the Fifth Avenue of London. And to this side, we're now in Mayfair. All the way down these side streets, it's beautiful buildings, very expensive. As you look in the upper floors, each building is quite different than the next. And there's even some Dutch style. You have the gables, like up there, elements of Amsterdam from the old trading days when London and Amsterdam were very much in communication.
As mentioned, I've been leading this walking tour over the past 30 years while bringing groups from my home in Hawaii on visits to Europe. That experience helped me design this walk itinerary to include many fascinating sites with an efficient route. The famous Sotheby's auction house had some kind of a video shoot going on using a Steadicam. So far, our walking route has covered slightly less than 2 miles, with 1 more mile to go on the basic route, but now a short optional detour, a side leg adding about a half mile to the walk, turning right here towards Berkeley Square, if you've got the time and would like to see a pleasant little park.
So this is Berkeley Square. We would say Berkeley Square, but the English pronunciation is Berkeley Square. These are plane trees, these tall trees here, typical of London. It's a good place to take a little break. So here we take a little breather. Very elegant residential neighborhood and commercial district. We're still right in the heart of Mayfair. That little pavilion in the center is just for the gardeners. They store their lawnmowers and equipment in there.
It's a tranquil oasis in the middle of the city. It's good to sit and rest about once every hour at least while walking, and that was a perfect spot for it. Exiting the square brings you into several more little streets with marvelous old architecture and some classic shops like the famous Asprey. And within a few minutes you're back on Old Bond Street. This historic neighborhood was designed in the old-fashioned way with a human scale, making for a pleasant walk even if you're not spending any money. This luxury shopping promenade has the biggest concentration of high-end retail in the nation. A good place for some inexpensive window shopping, enjoying from outside those dazzling displays they create to lure you in. At the end of Bond Street, take a turn into the Burlington Arcade, a historic covered shopping gallery, 1 block long, with nearly 50 small stores.
This is very expensive, very exclusive, and it's based on the Parisian model of the covered mall, which was first started back in the 1840s, 50s in Paris. They called it the Passage, and Lord Burlington had this constructed, partly so that people's garbage wouldn't get thrown down into the street. The roof protected it, and you see it's several levels. So there's the shop at the ground level, and then the shop has a little storehouse or an office upstairs, and sometimes a showroom downstairs as well in the basement. It's a lovely spot, pretty high prices, but beautiful windows to look at. And we're just simply going to walk slowly through it, and we'll come out the other end in about 5 minutes. You see the other end right there.
There are a half dozen similar historic arcades in London, but this one, built in 1819, is generally considered to be the best and most famous. While there's no restaurant here, there is a world-famous patisserie, Lauderay, based in Paris, specializing in the macaron, an almond meringue cookie with a sweet filling. The clerk will be happy to fill a box for you for a nice snack to eat while walking. The arcade is famous for its distinctive uniformed guards who patrol the gallery to enforce its traditional rules. Wearing top hats and frock coats, they've been a fixture of the arcade since its opening. Called Beatles, they enforce rules such as no running, no whistling, no singing, maintaining the arcade's genteel atmosphere. Upon exiting to Piccadilly, you can turn to see the beautiful facade of the Burlington Arcade. Next to it is a major art museum.
This is the Royal Academy. It was the private palace of Lord Burlington, and for many years it's been an art museum. It's a building that's done in the Florentine classic revival style.
The various changing exhibits often use the courtyard as a place to exhibit sculpture. Across the street from the Royal Academy is the most famous food store in London, a site that you really want to visit, called Fortnum Mason. Most famous for their tea, but they also have 4 floors in the building with clothing, furnishings, a restaurant, and a wide variety of other foods. But for most visitors, the main goal is purchase some tea. You can sit at one of their restaurants and have a complete meal, or perhaps just scones with clotted cream and a cup of tea.
Well, we're here at Fortnum Mason's having tea, and then you put your clotted cream on, and then a little bit of jelly to go on top. Oh, that's lovely. This is clotted cream that you can really only get in England. It's fresh and it's delicious. Huh? That's a perfect example.
Some people do some heavy shopping while here. You can see how happy and successful my Hawaii group is to share English tea with friends at home. The back of Fortnum Mason is on Jermyn Street, lined with elegant shops.
We're going to walk along Jermyn Street for about a block. There's a beautiful perfume shop, there's clothing stores, and a cheese shop we'll have a walk by.
Visit Pink for upscale clothing. Floris has been selling fragrances from the same building since the 18th century.
This is Paxton and Whitfield's, and they've got 300 different kinds of cheese in here, and it really smells it when you go inside. And they've been in business since 1797.
Towards the end of Jermyn Street, a historic attraction.
On the left, a church built by Christopher Wren.
Have a look inside St. James's Church, one of Christopher Wren's magnificent parish churches built in the late 18th century, with a garden around it that's used for a daily market. It extends from Jermyn Street right through to Piccadilly with a nice variety of goods for sale, benches to relax on, food, clothing, souvenirs, postcards, jewelry, scarves, all kinds of items. And it's a great place to chat with some local vendors. You can purchase a variety of international foods here and then eat it in the beautiful garden courtyard. From the church, walk 100 meters south to St. James's Square, another patch of greenery in the heart of the city. Open from 7:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday.
This is one of the lovelier little parks in London, and it's surrounded by beautiful apartments. We're in the St. James neighborhood, and this is a very exclusive part of town. You see the magnificent trees, a beautiful green lawn, statue in the center, the equestrian statue over here. And we're just simply going to walk through it and we exit on the side.
That will lead us one block over to Pall Mall, a street famous for its private clubs, and the end of our walking tour, unless you'd like to carry on with an option to see changing of the guards. At this point, you could either walk back over to Trafalgar Square, just a few blocks away, or carry on to St. James's Park and Buckingham Palace to watch the famous ceremony of changing of the guards. Then walk through St. James's Park back to Trafalgar Square, which adds another 2 miles to your walking route. I've learned these special viewing strategies while leading many tours to London over the past 30 years, and now sharing with you the best highlights I photographed over various trips. I made a complete detailed movie all about changing of the guards that you can find in my collection. So here I'm just going to show you some entertaining highlights to help you decide if you want to take the time to come here and watch it. Keep in mind you should get to the guards by about 10:15 when it begins, so you should get an early start on the walking tour and keep your eye on the schedule, aiming to get to Fortnum Mason just after 10 a.m. when they open. I have many more videos about London and the rest of Europe. Have a look at our collection. I'll leave you with more of the music of the marching bands at Changing of the Guards. We frequently upload new movies, so please subscribe to our channel and click that little alarm bell so you'll be notified. And if you enjoyed the movie, how about a thumbs up? And we always welcome comments down below. Or if you have questions about the destination, make note and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching.